Hey guys, Spudknocker here, as always, and today we're going to continue on with our look at the Call of Duty Modern Warfare campaign through a historical and more analytical look. So we're going to be playing through the campaign, just like in the last part, and be looking at the different parts of the campaign that can be analyzed in a bit of a more historical or geopolitical light, and looking at the different influencers that Infinity Ward used from history as well as more recent and contemporary political events to shape the story of our fictional country, Urzikstan, here. So as we can see here, when we go ahead and pull up the mission, Embedded, which is the third mission that where we left off, we can see that Urzikstan is right here, and is a very fictional little spot of land that's been plopped right into the Black Sea right there, and it's actually very close to the Russian border, which runs right through the Caucasus Mountains right here, and the real Black Sea border kind of comes up around more like this and cuts through right through the middle of the country. Interestingly, this is a rather green, forested area of the world, and the very desert, arid look of Urzikstan doesn't really match that. And actually, this is the main area of the very complicated flight simulator that I usually make videos on. So let's go ahead and continue on here. When I looked at the lots of the marketing stuff and the videos that Infinity Ward and the official Call of Duty people put out, I could see lots of different influencers for the fictional country of Urzikstan, lots of different timelines and histories from different countries kind of being molded together, and Urzikstan's kind of an amalgamation of a bunch of different influencers. I see influences from the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan from 1979 to 1988 time frame, from, of course, very much the most recent Syrian civil war that is still ongoing and has had some very interesting and pretty heartbreaking developments from my standpoint in the past few weeks and months, as well as the wars in Chechnya in southern Russia, in which the Russian government was cracking down on separatist Muslim forces in southern Russia, as well as other kind of civil wars and hot spots and brush-ups around the world that are around today. So let's go ahead and get started with this campaign mission. We'll probably play another 2 missions here, analyzing them. I'll probably be pausing them as we need to keep on going through and keep analyzing these missions. So let's go ahead and get started here. So I'm gonna go ahead and restart the mission, and we'll put it on regular, just to so we don't get our butts kicked too badly here, because I'm not exactly a first-person shooter connoisseur, but we'll do our best. How about that? All right, here we are in Urzikstan.
Alex is on the ground there looking for the stolen chems.
Well, he'll need the Liberation Force on his side, so have him contact the CR.
You know Commander Karim?
We're acquainted. Use my name, or they'll kill him.
What is your message from Captain Price?
Commander Karim. Call me Alex.
I'm listening, Alex.
This is classified.
يلا ولد دامي جهزوا لي هالكم.
"48 hours ago, terrorists stole a shipment of Russian gas.
Only Al-Qatala would do this.
The Russians make no distinction between Al-Qatala and your people.
And I make no distinction between Al-Qatala and the Russian army. They're both terrorists. We would never use these poisons.
Then help us track it before they...
Before they what? Take it to Europe? Or America? We live like this every day.
Commander, it's time to go. Who is this?
Alex, this is my brother and Lieutenant Hadir.
You are CIA?
He works with Captain Price.
Then you kill Russians, yes?
I have friends who can help us. But your sister decides what's next.
Of course. My sister is in command. And the Russian army is still here.
This occupation must end. That we can all agree on, yes?
Yeah.
General Barkov's men control the city. We have plans to change that.
We have no missiles, but we have our ways.
If you stay, we can help you. But if you stay, you fight.
Yelling out to him.
Marhaba Ali Urzikstan, Alex.
Follow me. These tunnels are our lifeline. We have intel Russian troop commanders are in town today. We're going to ambush them.
How?
Explosives.
That'll get their attention.
And pull security away from the Russian base. Leave.
All right, so let's go ahead and pause it here really quick and take a look at that cutscene from a bit of a historical perspective here, or a geopolitical perspective if you want to do that. So the very first and very blatant, very in-your-face kind of reference to the Syrian conflict is that opening shot of Urzikstan, where you have that Russian SU-25 Frogfoot, which, if you don't know, is kind of the Russian equivalent of the A-10 Warthog. Super rugged, down in the weeds, slow, ugly, super well armed and armored close air support aircraft, just like the American A-10 Warthog. Dropping a bomb kind of indiscriminately amongst a ruined city, whether, it conjures up images, sweeping images of the destruction and indiscriminate bombing of cities like Aleppo and Homs in Syria, and really, really hits home and kind of shows you, just kind of puts you in the mood of what is happening here in Urzikstan. And then you get, of course, Alex and Farah meeting for the first time here, and definitely some mistrust between them. And you really see that geopolitical kind of finagling, and is definitely a part of the debate that has been raging since the Syrian civil war has kind of popped up, as well as more of the greater war on terror. When you see kind of the idea in different political debates of, do we really care about those people? Do we really care about what's happening to them? Do we only really say we care because of what could potentially blow back and come to us in terms of that gas being brought to Europe or the Americas, or terrorism being exported to Europe or the Americas, like in the terrorist attack we saw just last mission, or kind of drawing parallels to the terrorist attacks that swept across Europe in the last few years. So it's a really interesting thing to look at and note, and it's very interesting and very kind of ballsy, I think, on the part of Infinity Ward of including such recent and raw events in human history in a entertainment product, ostensibly an entertainment product like Modern Warfare here. So let's go ahead and continue.
Being it open to an attack.
We must hold nothing back.
Too far on that path, and we lose ourselves. Get set for the airbase attack.
Be safe. Alex, take these charges. C4 with remote detonator.
Thanks.
Watch my sister. Good luck.
You too.
أهلا طارق.
طب سارة. يلا. American?
زلمة كفو.
American. Yep, that's me.
اتصال.
At least we got coffee. That's important.
How do I look?
It'll do. Tarek, what's the report?
Russians are just outside. If they see your weapons, they will shoot.
That happens. Our plan fails before it starts. Alex, our guns give us away. Keep it hidden.
All right.
Follow me.
That guy's looking at me. That's not good.
Buckle's forces occupy the entire city. They separate our men and the women. They will be very soon. Their officers are coming.
So I definitely see lots of parallels to Russian treatment of civilians throughout almost all of the Cold War, end of World War II, all these kinds of things. The Hungarian Revolution, all of these things of the Russian armed forces really cracking down hard on civilians.
Get through that main door. I'll find you on the other side.
Of course, certainly the invasion of Afghanistan and the treatment of civilians during the invasion of Afghanistan the invasion of southern Russia, which is the Chechnya, and the treatment of civilians there. Quite clearly, the Russian military does not have quite a very good track record with civilians in conflict areas. Now, I don't know and cannot talk on how Russian forces treat civilians in Syria. Whoa, looks like Farah's got him. As nothing has really come out of it.
Approach him. Slowly. Get his attention.
Oop, I dropped my thing. There we go.
Take him.
Uh-oh.
Diri balik achalik ikti. You're resourceful.
Jeez.
Good.
Let's go. I have contacts posted just ahead. They'll have more explosives for us.
Pretty
A bigger blast will pull more forces away from the
horrific
Russian
and brutal imagery in this game.
Shit. Barkov soldiers have found my contacts. They may be dead already.
Can't go loud. Need a suppressor.
Find an oil filter. It will silence your weapon. Check civilian cars. I'll keep watch on the gas.
С этими бабами надо держать ухо востро. Они все прячут лица. Есть и другие способы их различать.
That's interesting. Just the dialogue with the Russian soldiers here is pretty intense and shows the cultural animosity between the Russians and the Urzikstanis here.
That'll do it.
Good. Head back and flank right.
Alright, that's a little far-fetched for me here. That kind of is weird. That worked a little too well, putting an oil filter directly onto the barrel of a 1911 pistol. That's,
Рабочая сила. Пав
You get two.
мужиков
I'll take the rest.
каторг. Как он говорит, в хозяйстве все сгодится. Какого черта?
wow, she's cool. I like her. Alright, let's see here.
Hold up. Stay away from the door.
Осторожно, могут быть растяжки.
Do you have a shot?
Yep.
Take two. I'll take the other.
Now go check the back room. Я подобрал.
Clear.
This way.
Alright,
Sorry
that was
about your
stupid.
contacts.
We have the explosives. Your sacrifice will not be in vain.
Obviously, all these guys are carrying weapons that are very, very much in line with what a Russian
Here we
soldier
go.
would be
We're
carrying.
going back outside.
Although they wouldn't be AK-47s, they would be AKM or AK-74 type weapons.
Follow me. I'll see.
To the fight, General Bob. We made an example of. What is this?
Please, she's just scared.
Stand down. I don't watch you.
Now, I'm sure that
Do you understand
we will
what-
hear, and it will come out eventually,
Because they killed our
that
soldiers.
the Russian soldiers within Syria have done some pretty horrific things to
Let's
civilians,
get moving.
as they have quite the track record of doing so in other conflicts.
It's a goddamn war crime.
But unfortunately in Syria, with the heartbreaking kind of
Who caused this
Barkov
pain?
blames us.
betrayal of the Kurds
What can we do?
by the U.S., I think that we don't really have the high ground there anymore. Moral high ground, that is. Wow. This is pretty intense for a video game that is marketed towards teenagers and stuff, so. But I think it's also very important to show teenagers and people who this is marketed to the realities of war, and I hope that they take that to heart rather than
Take them out.
brushing it off, I suppose. Because war is a terrible thing. Even though we as human beings find it to be entertaining and interesting and stimulating.
Guards get in your way. Take them out. Quietly. Meet back here when you're through.
Alright. I don't know why Russians are flying little birds. I don't think the Russians have a helicopter that looks like a little bird like this, but they do get around town, that's for sure. The North Koreans actually fly AH-6 Little Bird helicopters in a weird twist of fate.
Workers over there.
Oh, sorry, buddy. Oh, he's laughing at me. Uh-oh. Yeah. Alright, we'll try that again. Whoops.
Guards get in your way. Take them out. Quietly.
Alright, so yeah, like I said, Little Birds, kind of strange that they're in Russian hands, but like I said, they do travel around, and the North Koreans actually have quite a few of them, which is a little bit strange, in my opinion. Alright, we'll keep that weapon concealed as much as we can. Alright, put this back away.
Workers over there. Don't.
Peace-loving citizens of Urzikstan.
What is this?
Freedom fighters and their collaborators threaten the safety and security of those who follow the rules. Today, they will be punished.
Alright, let's try and blend in as much as we can.
Those who believe that my forces is defeated by these
So, kind of another kind of historical reference to these helicopters here is helicopters were a big deal during the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, and Russian Mi-24 and Mi-8 helicopters were a big reason for the U.S. intervention of giving weapons to the Mujahideen, who were led by notable figures such as Osama bin Laden, because the Russians were using their helicopters to slaughter civilians wholesale during the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, as well as just completely obliterate and
There's a guy.
run over
The stairs, left side.
the Mujahideen.
Now, move up.
Alright, we'll get rid of him. And we'll get rid of him.
What you covered?
You got cat-like reflexes.
I'm more of a dog
to
person.
defend your lives.
And he's even wearing a Western-style helmet to go along with his Western helicopter. That's a little strange.
I reserve the manpower.
Charge set. This will make one hell of a distraction.
That's the plan. Now get to the other helicopter.
Alright, where's the other helo? Over there? Let's go ahead and put this away for now. That pooch is a little scary.
My citizen soldiers. Urzikstan is bleeding. Her reserves of manpower are dying out. These terrorist criminals are destroying this land.
There's some dudes over here.
We can make an example.
Two down.
Those who refuse to
Nice.
follow my orders.
Not sure why a Russian soldier has an Uzi, but it's a game. That's okay. We'll give him a pass.
Conspirators among
I'm at the target.
are carrying out acts
You know what to do.
against our
Uh-oh. That was close.
Charge is set.
Regroup on my position. Clear. These oil filters work well.
The people of Urzikstan are far better off under my command.
I think I alerted all the bad guys.
Fair in its victory. But it must earn their privilege through loyalty and
Work your way back here, Alex.
together we can build industry and harvest raw materials.
Alex, over here.
I'm coming, Farrah. Don't worry. I'm coming. As fast as I can without spooking the Ruskies. Which I think I already did.
Together we can maintain a united front against the West.
Yeesh. They're still over there. These bad guys.
Congress and all loyal citizens of Urzikstan.
Alright, there she is.
I'm
We're clear.
General
It's time.
Barco, your superior and commander of these territories.
Blow it.
In
Byron.
spite
Fucking beautiful, Alex. Well done. Now this way.
Wait. Take the left. Hold your fire. Look, it's worked. Troops from the base are rushing into the fence. Okay, the tractor and the fence. Under them out there. More are coming. Follow through.
Alright, here we go. Under the truck.
A parting gift for when they return.
How generous of you.
A shame to miss the show, but we have to get on with our attack before it's too late.
Alright, here we go.
The next street will lead us back to the tunnels under Tarek's.
Shit!
Uh-oh, boy. Where are we going?
Tara, we're getting boxed in.
Oh, boy.
Right, Alex, go right!
Alright, I'm following you.
Window!
Fighting against terror. Nice. It definitely goes to show that one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist.
What the
That's
hell
for
is
sure.
this?
More of Barkov's war crimes.
Oh, man.
Alex, get down.
Don't move.
Jeez, now we're playing dead to sneak away from the Russians.
Now, move up.
Ну, вони. Сжигаем это место? Может, хоть в этот раз до них дойдет.
Должно быть Карин.
That's it. Shoot the left too.
Alright, I definitely want her on my side.
To the tunnels, quickly. More may be coming. Alex, over here.
Alright, here we go.
Look, reinforcements from the air base. Our plan is working. Stop. Shit. Tarek's door is open.
Where's Tarek?
Dead. He would never abandon his post.
Uh-oh.
Let's go.
Wouldn't be Call of Duty without watermelons to shoot.
Clear. Let's head down. Get to Hadir.
You lost good people today.
That is the cost of this war. Now let's take Barkov's air base, so their deaths are not in vain.
We're in for a hell of a fight.
So are they. Hadir has a plan.
Alright, let's do it. I mean, not much really to analyze there, but other than the fact
You're
that
in my house now, Alex.
air power is a huge symbolic thing, especially helicopters in conjunction with Russian military forces against irregular warfare. You know, irregular mujahideen and
No grenades, so we improvise.
things like that.
Not bad.
Think we fight this war with sticks and stones?
Ooh, look at that.
The Russians only understand violence, so I show them violence. Barkov has an air force, so we have one too.
An interesting thing about this Kar 98K, a German World War II rifle, we'll go ahead and pause it. A German World War II rifle here in Urzikstan, so to speak, is that the Syrian civil war has brought up and seen rebels use quite a bit of World War II era weaponry, whether it is from the American side, British side, or the German side, actually. And this is due to the fact that Syria was, in fact, an ally of the Third Reich during World War II. And the Third Reich, the Nazis, sent quite a few weapons to the Syrian government at the time. I believe it was a king. I don't quite remember the details, but then the Ba'athist Revolution happened, and that brought into power the current dictator that's trying to hold on to power in Syria at the moment. But these World War II weapons were still in Syria all the way from World War II. And quite a few old Panzers, usually Panzer IVs or Panzer IIIs, actually got revitalized and used by rebels during the Syrian civil war, as well as small arms. A lot of STG-44s, the Sturmgewehr, the very first assault rifle, quite a few of those have been spotted and used by Syrian rebels, as well as insurgents in Iraq fighting against American soldiers during the 2003 invasion, as well as, Kar-98Ks, whether scoped or unscoped. American M1 Garand rifles have also been spotted and used by rebel forces in Syria as well as in Iraq, things like that. So it's not totally out of place to have World War II weapons here in this game, which is an interesting little part of this campaign. So let's go ahead and keep going. Lena, nice.
Are we ready?
Yes, Commander. All right, cool.
Alex, flying to the helicopter for impact.
I'm in.
Cool.
Stay low. The air base is ahead.
All right, stay low.
Tarmac to keep flying.
Boom. Nice. Hit that Mi-8.
Let's get down there.
Airbase perimeter is dead ahead. Second team will cover us with the cannon.
Echo 3-1 to Watcher. Local forces are moving in on Barkov's air base, requesting close air support.
Copy 3-1. I'm tasking an unmarked gunship to your position. Stand by.
Roger that.
Get ready. We attack.
So let's pause it one more time here. It's kind of some things to dissect there. The RC airplanes with weapons strapped to them, bombs, are definitely a thing that has been seen in contemporary events in Syria as well as Iraq. Lots of different asymmetrical forces, whether they're on our side or on the Syrian side or even on the Russian side or on the Turkish side, have used drones or remote-controlled airplanes to have a airborne explosive, I guess you could say. A lot of drones have, this was especially true during the bunch of battles where the Iraqi army was pushing ISIS out of lots of different Iraqi cities, where ISIS would use quadcopters, little drones, hobby drones, to drop grenades onto unsuspecting Iraqi soldiers. And in the end, the best weapon to combat this was a shotgun with birdshot. Shoot it down. Just the way you would shoot waterfowl if you were on a hunting trip. As well as, what is Alex's job? Alex is part of the Special Activities Group of the CIA, and quite a few of these guys were dropped into Syria and into other hotspots to help irregular forces by coordinating things like airstrikes and artillery strikes and all these powerful weapons of the American arsenal to help these irregular forces that have no training or coordination or any way to know how to maximize the use of these elements. And so you have guys like Alex here, Special Activities Group agents, even U.S. military personnel, special forces, probably like Delta Force, Navy SEALs, maybe Rangers, Green Berets. Green Berets' specialty is working with asymmetrical forces, or at least it was during the Cold War era, and going in there and helping these guys out. So Alex probably has training on lots of different weapon systems, from the past through the present, anything that he can find on the battlefield he can use, which kind of suits our kind of super soldier kind of persona in a Call of Duty game, as well as he's got training to be a JTAC or Joint Terminal Air Controller to be able to coordinate those airstrikes and coordinate those artillery strikes, as well as probably training in medical field to help people out with medical issues, things like that, to help those irregular forces and help the people that support those irregular forces to keep kind of the hearts and minds good and ready to go and on the side of the United States or whatever their thing is.
Their armories, take their weapons, and take their airfield.
طيب كريم.
Cousins, we fight to free our country. For Urzikstan.
Urzikstan!
Wow, look at that. All right, let's see what we can do here. Help these guys out. Alright, let's go ahead and bring in another RC airplane to help us out here. Alright, cool. We just shot down one of those little bird helicopters with one of the drones. Uh-oh. Alright, here we go. Alright. Go back to the sniper rifle here. Ooh, look at that, I can see the laser from that sniper. That was a little scary. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Alright, let's bring in another drone if we can. Oh, looks like we got a bunch of dudes on that one. I think we just got two of their snipers, so that's good. Get them out of the way. Alright. I think this is really... The game itself in these bigger battles is really kind of amazing. The gunplay and all that is really, really amazing. It all seems to work really, really well. Oh shit. The guns, like especially this AK, don't feel like the laser beams they usually do in Call of Duty games. They definitely feel.
Got eyes on the armory. Red building.
Oh jeez. Can't let that guy get around me. Alright. Well, hopefully I didn't hit myself there. Oh, yep, sure did. Alright. Gotta keep moving in. Oops, shit. Did not see that guy over there. Oh, yep, ate it. Alright. I kind of like that quote from Albert Einstein. Of course, as we know, Albert Einstein was German and escaped the Third Reich before things went south. I like that quote, though. I'm a pacifist, a militant pacifist. I'll fight for peace. That's really good. I think a lot of people need to know exactly what they're willing to fight. Oh shit, in life. Fight for in life, so I think we'll go around to the other side, as I just blew myself up there.
First armory's clear.
Alright, they're dead. Okay, let's see what we got here. Ammo's good. Ooh, a scar. Let's go ahead and take the scar. Not sure why the Russians are running around with Belgian Scar 17 rifles, but that's alright. Well, you guys, come on, help her. Let's go.
I know what to do. I'm going to ram it. Move, Alex.
3-1 to Watcher. Moving to the tarmac. Where's that air support?
Echo 3-1. Inbound.
There we go. Alright. Ooh, wow, that's not good. Alright, cool, we got that little bird down. Let's see if there are any more. That helps, for sure. Now, of course, these little drone things are very, very video gameized. And so what's also really, really interesting is there was a explosive drone attack on Latakia Air Base, the Russian air base in Syria, which is incredibly interesting, which I think that this level took a lot of inspiration from that attack. I don't know if this attack was followed up by a ground attack or not, but I know that ISIS, as well as other more pacifist or more good guy militia groups in Syria, have definitely used airborne drones to attack Latakia Air Base. Oop, looks like Russian just got caught on fire there. Yeah, so there's a more modern assault rifle that Russian forces would probably more than likely be using, and that's an AK-12. Yeah, I know, buddy. I know. Believe me. And you can see it looks quite different from a regular AK-47 you might see floating around the Middle East. Still definitely fires like one. A lot of recoil. Oh, probably shouldn't have gotten rid of that sniper rifle. Alright. I'm better at shooting Russians. Alright, here we go. Whoa, 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 grenade! Alright. Well, at least we picked up some more ammunition. That's why it's kind of important on a clandestine mission like this to use enemy weapon system is you'll not likely to run out of ammunition anytime soon. Alright, cool. We're good to go.
Some punk bastards are still inside!
I hear them! Alex, get the dog! Cover him!
Behind you, taking a Molotov.
Burn them down!
Go ahead, Alex. We've got your back.
Alright, where do I go here?
Alex, get in there! We need that armory!
It's locked.
There's a hatch on the roof. Alex, help me up.
How'd you know that?
I'll pull you up, Alex. Jump!
Alright, here we go.
Here, Alex. 1, 2, 3!
Last armory is secure. Resupply on me.
Make it quick.
I'd rather have the fragmentation grenades. What else we got here? Not sure why the Russians have a FAMAS rifle, but maybe they took it from the rebels or something. I think I'm gonna go ahead and take the Dragunov just for giggles here, and we should be good to go. Now, how do I get out?
The fight's not over yet. Come on!
I know, man, but how do I get out?
We're gonna get boxed in!
Oh, there we go. Uh-oh. This isn't good. Oh my gosh, that's not good at all.
Echo 3-1, Viper 1-1 on approach, ready for tasking. What's your position?
Viper, this is 3-1. Goddamn good to hear your voice. Friendly's in the hangar, taking fire from troops to the tarmac. You are cleared hot.
Roger, 3-1, Viper inbound. Targets are in sight. Stand by for fire.
Okay.
Away. Inbound with 30 miles. Like here goes Gunner. Take out that enemy armor. Impact. Enemy armor.
So it's always kind of comical how Call of Duty portrays aviation assets. Like, a gunship would not be flying directly over the top of the guys they're trying to shoot. That would just be a bad idea. It's a good way to take an RPG, small arms fire, all this kind of stuff that you really don't want to get hit by if you're in a Apache helicopter. Oh, shit. Looks like we gotta keep moving.
Those should be done yet. They're retreating. We can get after them or call it here. All targets destroyed. Tarmac is clear of enemy movement. Over.
Solid copy.
And kind of the storyline here is that it was an unmarked quote-unquote gunship, but look, it's an AH-64 Apache. If they really wanted to be unmarked, quote-unquote, they should have used like
So you do kill Russians.
an Mi-24 Hind or a Mi-8 Hip, something like that, that's not necessarily going to be traced directly back to the United States.
We make a good team.
Yes, we've bought time. But Barker will retaliate.
So will we.
You may say, well, maybe...
Alex and Commander Karim's forces have destroyed General Barkov's forward operations base, temporarily limiting Russian air capability.
Alright guys, so that's part 2 of a more historical and critical look at the story of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and so far it's pretty fantastic. I have no qualms with anything. So we'll go ahead and end it here, and hopefully you guys liked the video. Please give it a like and a subscribe, and we'll see you next time.